Off the coast of California, close encounters with great white sharks seem to be on the rise.
I was eye to eye with this shark.
When he got up on the paddleboard, he had a huge bite.
The shark responsible for this attack could be a great white.
Shark scientist Dr. Michael Domeyer believes the great white population along this stretch of U.S. coast is booming. And more sharks
Here's another one.
means more encounters.
There are many more great white sharks along the coast of California than people ever imagined. Oh my God, look at that thing!
Now, to protect beachgoers from attacks,
Oh, right there!
Another new shark, and she's even bigger.
a team of shark researchers are on an expedition to determine just how many great whites are really out there.
Wow!
From Mexico's world-famous Guadalupe Island to a new white shark hotspot just discovered near the beaches of Southern California.
Check that out.
Their mission will bring them face to face with some of the largest great whites on the planet.
Whoa, heads up.
My name is Dr. Michael Domeyer, and I've been studying great white sharks for more than 20 years. What motivates me is that they're such a charismatic mega predator. They have been virtually unchanged for 10 or 12 million years. They get to be 20 feet long. They have a tail more like a tuna, built for speed. And once they mature, they sort of stop getting longer, and they just start getting bigger around. One of the most amazing evolutionary marvels is that the same sharks are really loyal to certain geographic areas. And they seem to assemble into little subgroups. That's why we chose the word tribes. It's not a scientific word, it's just a word to help people understand that these groups of white sharks are different. And what's different about them? Their migration patterns are quite different. The adults tend to aggregate in very specific spots. It's these adult aggregation sites that I'm considering the definition of that tribe.
Booming populations among these shark tribes could explain the explosion in white shark encounters off the coast of California.
There are two really well-studied adult white shark tribes in the northeastern Pacific. One of them is what I call the Red Triangle tribe, off the coast of San Francisco. The other tribe gathers at Guadalupe Island, which is located about 160 miles offshore of Baja California. I believe that the Guadalupe Island tribe is the most well-studied aggregation in the northeastern Pacific. In the last 20-plus years, we have identified 454 individual white sharks from that site. Of course, some of them may have died, but not that many things can kill an adult white shark. Meanwhile, we had a population estimate that was published in 2011 that said that the entire northeastern Pacific population of white sharks was about 450. And I did not believe that number could be true. From what I've been seeing along the coast of California at the time, I kept seeing more and more white sharks.
Since the 2011 population study, Dr. Michael Domeyer and his shark tagging partner Keith Poe discovered a new tribe that could change everything people thought they knew about great whites off California.
We discovered this aggregation of adult white sharks here at Point Conception, California. These sharks were completely ignored in this 2011 population estimate. We've never done any type of population estimate here before, which means we have a lot of work to do.
Point Conception is a rugged stretch of California coastline, just west of Santa Barbara. Nestled between the well-known Red Triangle and Guadalupe Island tribes, It could be home to one of the largest aggregations of white sharks on the planet.
From the minimal amount of tagging that I've done here at Point Conception, I know these sharks leave this area and they come back to this area. They don't go to Guadalupe Island and they don't go to the Red Triangle. It's a brand new tribe. Discovery of this new aggregation is really huge. The size of this tribe is going to dramatically impact the overall population estimates in the Northeastern Pacific.
Now, Domeyer calls in his all-star team. The mission: count the number of great whites in the new Point Conception tribe.
My name is Neha Acharya Patel, and I am an eDNA scientist at the University of Victoria.
So my name is Nicole Nasby-Lucas, and Michael Domeyer and I have been working together for 20 years now.
My name's Keith Poe, and I'm a shark tagger, and I go out in the field and I locate them so we can catch them and tag them and do research on them.
Keith Poe, he and I have been partners in tagging for a very long time. He is the shark whisperer, the shark caller, and I guarantee you, with Keith on this team, we're gonna have sharks jumping out of the water all day long. The primary mission is to begin the first ever population estimate for these Point Conception tribe of sharks. We've never done it before. It's gonna be really hard for us because we have to start completely from scratch. Let's get to work.
To count sharks, they have to identify as many individuals as they can. To do that, they have to take a lot of shark pictures.
So the method that I developed for Guadalupe Island is actually unique in the world. We use the line between the dark upper side and the white underside. It makes a very unique fingerprint and allows us to identify each shark.
In Guadalupe Island, we have the photo ID database that we started in 2003 that have all the identified sharks in it. Here near Point Conception, we're starting from scratch.
Creating a photo ID database will help them determine a population estimate for the Point Conception tribe. This method of counting sharks is known as mark and recapture.
You just can't count them all. The challenge is immense, so you have to come up with methods to estimate how many sharks there are.
They begin by photo identifying as many sharks as they can.
The picture acts as a tag.
Later, on a return visit, they'll take a second photo survey of the sharks and compare it with the first. Some they may recognize from the first trip, others will be new. It's the ratio of old to new that helps them estimate the total shark population.
So the really important thing is to use this pole cam and also drop cams to try to get images of both sides of the shark. We want to get imagery and we want to get tissue samples for DNA.
In addition to photo IDs, the team will attempt to collect DNA samples from the Point Conception great whites.
This is a biopsy spear that I had machined, and it compresses the skin into the chamber here. And when I put it in, I just twist it back and forth to make sure it dislodges. And once we get it back and the sample's in there, then we push it out into the vial to preserve it.
Genetics can tell the researchers how closely related these sharks are, providing more data on how many might be out there.
As the technology gets better and better, the questions we've been able to ask with DNA have really increased in scope.
To cover as much ground as possible, the team will divide and conquer. While Neha and Nicole work from the main research vessel, Mike will join Keith on his smaller boat, the Shark Tagger.
Shark right here. We got a pole cam.
They're barely ready when a large white shark comes right to the boat.
How close is your drop cam to being ready? Because we've got a shark right here. It's right here in the stern. Watch your head.
We've got a couple cameras in the water right now with a live feed off the camera.
I'm gonna get in the cage right now. I've got my kit ready. I'm gonna take a camera so I can get some really good photo ID of the sharks when they come in close.
We got tied up alongside. We're chumming, just waiting on sharks now.
Any moment now.
Hey, Holly, this is your safety diver. I'll call it down as I see him. Hey, Hot, on your right. Big girl, turn it. I gave you the same female from before. top right, do you copy? We got a Great Lake down here.
Okay, we got a white shark here.
Oh, right there.
There she is right there. Coming around right to my bait right now. There she goes around the bow. She's gonna come up your side, Michael. Right off the bow, right off the bow.
She's giant, giant, giant. Oh my God.
Michael captures a left profile shot of this female, and her unique markings are clear.
Left side is done.
Here she comes, she's turning back.
All right, I need the right side. I just got the entire right side.
Good job.
The three main regions of pigment variability are the gills, the pelvis, and the tail. Pigment patterns aren't symmetrical, so it's important to get pictures of both sides of the shark.
We have to start identifying individuals. Once we feel like we've got good imagery of one side of the shark, hopefully both sides, then let's try to get the biopsy.
Hopefully we can keep them around for a while and get to know them a little bit better.
Oh, nice. A shark just made a pass right in front of the drift cam.
Hey, hon, on your left, on your left. I think that's 2 sharks we spotted so far. And a big female, she just took it off.
Heads up, shark tagger. Think she's heading your way.
Here she comes. She's gonna come up your side, Michael.
Oh, there she is. Here it comes, here it comes.
Wow. Here she comes again. She's gonna take that
She
fish.
wants that. Yep, I'm getting the right side.
You got both sides of
I
her?
got that. I got it. Go for it. Go, go.
Got it.
Yeah! Right on!
Woo! Check it out.
They get the ID picture and a biopsy from this big female. That's one, but there's a lot more to go.
Here's another one. Here's another one.
She's big, 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 big. Oh yeah, 2. Holy smoke.
Players here now, baby.
It's a lot of sharks, Keith.
With multiple sharks swarming around the boat, Michael and Keith struggle to keep up.
There's a new shark right there. And we got sharks everywhere. Oh my God. No, 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 no. Not the camera.
She's gonna come up your side, Michael.
Oh my God. Not the camera. Oh my God. I don't know, what do you think? That's 5 different sharks at least, huh?
There is at least.
All the previous population estimates did not take into account this group right here. That's what we're trying to do. Put these on the map right now.
Here comes the big one.
Look at that. Look at that.
These pictures are the very first photo IDs of the Point Conception white sharks.
Totally just got left side.
Back at the mothership, researcher Neha Acharya Patel and a safety diver watch out for more sharks from inside a cage.
Incredible how these sharks just come out of nowhere.
Each shark has its own signature markings, but all great whites have the same basic color pattern for good reason.
If you're looking down at a great white shark, you're looking down at a darker surface. You can't really see it. Just like if you're looking up at a great white shark, you're seeing brighter sunlight and that white belly, again, very hard to see. That's called counter shading. So the color pattern of a white shark is all about invisibility. Here it comes, here it comes. Here we go. Holy moly.
It's huge, brother.
Oh my God, hit the bucket. No, 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 don't eat the bucket. Don't eat the bucket. Don't eat the fender.
There was another one right here. They're getting bigger and bigger now.
Different shark.
Shark after shark comes in, circles the boat, and is photographed and identified. The goal now is to keep the pictures coming and sort them out later. At this rate, they'll have a solid photo sample of the sharks at Point Conception.
I've lost count of how many sharks we've seen today.
It's been a lot, that's for sure.
This location is like a conveyor belt of sharks. When we're here multiple days, we don't very often see the same sharks.
They're literally coming by one right after another, like they're
Like
hooked
right
together
now.
in a Congo line.
Check her out.
Oh, wow. Here she comes.
Oh no, not the bucket. Oh my God, another new one. Nicole's gonna have her work cut out for her. We got clips and clips and clips, and putting together the left with the right is not gonna be easy.
Hey guys, I think I saw another one in the distance. Right there it is. Hey on, heads up, down below. Incredible, incredible.
There she is, different shark right now.
The two teams spend the next several hours documenting the enormous numbers of sharks in the Point Conception tribe.
Only way we're gonna get the beginning of a decent population estimate is to just keep sampling, keep videotaping, keep taking pictures to see how many individuals we can identify in just a few days that we're here.
As the sun goes down on day one, Michael reconvenes with Neha and Nicole back at the mothership.
Did you manage to get any samples?
Well, Neha, I got you 3. I've never seen so many big sharks in such a short amount of time anywhere. We had 3 16-foot females around us at the same exact time.
Wow, that's amazing.
Blown away by how many sharks we saw. This is a major tribe of white sharks right here. Undescribed tribe of white sharks. So far, our sampling from the Point Conception tribe is really robust compared to the Guadalupe Island tribe. Yesterday, it was so crazy on Keith's boat, so we're gonna bring Neha out today, just help us keep things organized. She can deal with all the tissue samples and labeling and taking notes. That'll be a big help.
Meanwhile, Nicole will go through the images from day one to identify and count up all the individuals.
Oh, there's one. Wow, check that out. Oh, another one right there.
Wow, they're everywhere.
What's going on?
2 sharks.
Almost immediately, they spot several great whites surfacing near the boat.
Here we go.
No water.
Look,
That's
look,
cool.
look,
There
look.
she is.
She's got some markings on her face.
They get bitten all the time hanging out with their boyfriend. There's another one. That's a boy. It's a mature male.
Researchers identify the sex of a shark by the presence of male organs called claspers. And they come in sets of 2.
Look at that. Another female.
Researchers have found that white sharks often segregate based on sex, with males staying mostly separate from females. But here at Point Conception, the males and females are together.
From my extensive satellite tracking, I've found that for the most of the year, they probably never even see each other. At these adult aggregation sites, it's one of the only places and times where males and females are there together. And I really believe that they're mating at these coastal aggregation sites.
If tribal aggregation sites are mating grounds, then they're critically important to the future of the white shark population.
Different shark. I have never seen a shark that looked like that before.
Yeah, that's pigment. That's a pigment deal.
That's weird looking.
This female white shark exhibits a very unusual pattern. It could be genetic or even a skin disease. Regardless, she's easy to identify.
Look at her eyes, even messed up.
Yeah.
She's an example of the diversity in the Point Conception tribe.
I didn't need that. I think she's a zombie.
They did kind of look like lesions on her body.
Yeah, I get ready with the biopsy. You know, I have a good shot of her. That will allow us to ID her.
All right, she's coming back around to your side, Keith.
Genetics might explain the shark they've named Zombie's unique appearance. So the team really wants to collect a tissue sample from her.
Here she is, right here, Keith. You can get her right here, right here, right here. Get her. Oh, there's one.
There she is.
That's Chris.
Zombie
That's
shark.
a zombie. Here she is, right here, Keith. You can get her right here. Got it. Right on.
Good job. The white shark is right at the top of this food chain. And essentially, if you take out any piece of the food chain, that whole system collapses. And so the more data we have can really increase how well we understand this system.
There's one deep right there.
The team spends the rest of the day photo IDing and tissue sampling.
Here at Point Conception, it's a whole new ball game. I know it's an aggregation site. The world doesn't know because I've yet to publish the papers, but this is a major, major great white shark tribe.
Their time in Point Conception is coming to an end. But while everyone was photographing sharks, Nicole made a wild discovery.
Okay, so check this out. Turns out that one of the females matches up with a Guadalupe Island shark.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Of the 27 sharks they've identified in Point Conception, one is a familiar face, Livy. She's a massive female and a member of the Guadalupe Island tribe.
I was shocked. I mean, I wasn't even thinking that was going to happen.
I was surprised that we were able to identify a Guadalupe Island shark.
The plot thickens.
Right.
We have seen very, very few adult white sharks from one tribe visit another. I mean, the percentage has got to be less than 10%. So for Livy to just show up at Point Conception was pretty cool. Now that we have a really good start with our Point Conception tribe, I want to call my collaborator, Dr. Oscar Sosa, down in Mexico and let him know what we found. Hey, Oscar, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Michael?
It's actually doing really good. We just got back from Point Conception. This is a bit of a shocker. One of the sharks was one that's in our Guadalupe Island catalog.
Wow, is that true?
Yep, Livy.
To find out that one shark from Guadalupe Island is showing up in Point Conception is great. It goes with our hypothesis that the aggregation in Guadalupe Island is getting to a number that might be the animals looking for some other new places.
And in just 2 days, we saw almost 30 sharks, Oscar.
Wow, that's great.
I'm really curious to see how that number will match up in our upcoming expedition to Guadalupe Island, if we see about the same or more or less.
Yes, that will be interesting to look for, right?
That might give us some idea if it's, you know, a similar sized tribe or not.
Yeah, of course, of course.
All right, Oscar, then stay tuned. We'll be in touch.
Adios.
We just wrapped up 2 great days at Point Conception where we saw a lot of sharks. But it's been 10 years now since I did a population estimate for Guadalupe Island. It's really important for us to go check that number in this overall picture of how many great white sharks are there in the northeastern Pacific.
Keith and Neha stay behind at Point Conception, while Nicole and Michael sail 400 miles south to recount sharks at Guadalupe Island. This great white hotspot hosts the most well-studied tribe in the northeastern Pacific.
Back at Guadalupe Island. I've been coming here for 22 years. I can't believe it. This is the best place in the world to study great white sharks. Wow, incredible. The conditions for working at Guadalupe Island are way superior to Point Conception because the water is clear. We can see so much further. We can capture so many more images of sharks. You have a couple more of those to put one in each corner?
Yeah.
To keep an eye out for sharks coming up from the deep, Michael and Nicole ready a drop camera.
One giant difference between the Point Conception tribe site and the Guadalupe Island tribe site is the water depth. At Point Conception, it's really shallow. At Guadalupe Island, we're anchoring up at probably 300 to 400 feet of water, and we're right on the edge of a cliff that goes into thousands of feet of water.
We have a camera we can drop deep and try to get a perspective on what sharks are down deep that might not be coming up to the cage.
While the drop camera provides another set of eyes in the deep, Michael prepares for a cage dive to photo ID sharks near the surface.
Michael, do you copy?
Gotcha. I hear you.
All right, so Michael's in the water, and he has a camera that's giving me a live feed so I can see exactly what he's seeing.
Michael also has twin lasers on his camera, calibrated to measure the sharks he's filming.
Michael, are you seeing anything down there?
Oh, here's got one. Wow. Wow, that came out of nowhere. Beautiful male. Just out of range. I'm not sure what shark that was.
Coming around again.
There we go, it's coming up from below.
This great white demonstrates a well-documented attack strategy by ambushing the bait at the surface with a vertical strike from below.
Do you recognize that one?
Yeah, that's definitely Duncan.
Nicole locks in Duncan, the first known shark of the day.
That's one fired up shark, folks. Wow, check that out. We got 2 sharks now.
Michael, does that look like a bigger shark?
No doubt about it.
Here he goes. Oh my God. Oh, there he goes. Ah! I think that might be Jacques.
Money shot. It's a great measurement on that shark.
Michael records a new approximate measurement of Jacques. He's grown nearly 2 feet since they last measured him in 2005.
So far, we've seen 2 different males. Duncan, which is a bit smaller, and Jacques, which is a much bigger shark.
But just like Point Conception, females are present too.
Oh, here comes a new one. Check this one out. Female.
She's coming straight up for the bait.
Hello. Beautiful, beautiful shark.
I'm not sure which shark that is.
Definitely a new shark. Check that out. Wow, we got this fresh female here just charging around.
Watch out, here she comes.
I got her. She's coming back. Here she comes.
Female great whites tend to be larger than males, and that size translates into raw power.
Wow! Oh my God! Wow, we got this fresh female here. Here she comes. Wow! Oh my God! A big shark, big shark. Really strange to be staring right inside the mouth of a white shark.
Nice.
Our main objective is to identify every single shark that swims past this boat and record whether it's a known shark that we already have in our catalog or if it's a brand new shark. And that ratio of known to new sharks is critical in figuring out if the number of sharks is going up or down.
The researchers spend most of the day snapping photo IDs of the sharks passing by the surface cage.
That's just out of range.
But they also notice several individuals swimming below the cage in deeper water.
To have them pull us up so we can have a stop.
my God. That was amazing. I think we might want to pull our drop cam up because they were staying low, made a lot of passes over that way. I have a lot of high hopes for that drop cam.
All right, let's check this thing out.
At Guadalupe Island, where it's so deep, there's a chance that some of the sharks could be hanging out way down below the boat. We never see them. So on this expedition, we want to confirm, using a deep drop camera, that the sharks that are down deep are the same sharks that we're seeing shallow. Nicole, let's get the cards out of these things, plug them into your laptop, and see what we got.
We got some really good footage. Here's an example of the deep cam. I mean, there were a few shots that had 2 or 3 sharks in them.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a photo booth. They just come on by and get their photo taken.
We have a lot more deep cam footage to go through, but we're using it to test this assumption that we are equally likely to see any shark at the surface in the deep cam. So how do you think that assumption's washing out?
I've seen a couple from the surface that we were able to identify on the deep camera.
That's great. Well, fortunately, it's only day 1. We got 2 more days, so we can increase our sample size and make this study even more robust.
As day 2 begins in Guadalupe, Nicole and Michael have a preliminary count for the number of sharks they've identified so far.
Day 1 went actually better than I expected. We thought by the end of yesterday we had 7 total sharks, 3 of them new, but working later into the night, that number is pretty much doubled. And we're still grinding through the drop cam footage this morning. Deep cam deployed.
The deep camera spotted so many sharks that Michael changes the dive plan for day 2.
The focus today is going to be the submersible cage. That's at a level that's between the drop cam and the surface cages.
Diving at depth presents unique challenges and dangers. If anything goes wrong, there's no easy avenue of escape.
All right, here we go.
I said, can you hear me?
Gotcha. I hear you. Let's start this deep cage dive, see what we can see.
The team lowers the cage to about 50 feet. This is an ideal hunting zone for great whites to launch ambush attacks on prey at the surface.
That's beautiful. It's like a swimming pool today. Here we go, Nicole, look to your right.
Oh, there's another one coming up underneath you.
Hi, Nicole. I got her. Too deep, though. Far below us.
Oh, there's a shark behind you.
Nicole, do you recognize that shark at all?
That one is the breathing.
She's a big girl.
Nicole and Michael have known Sabrina since 2013, when they added her to the catalog.
There's a new shark right there.
And it looks like their old friend invited someone else to the party.
That's the female from yesterday. See a fishing gear hanging out of her gill. There's another shark here, but I'm not sure where it went. Oh, there she is. Oh, check that out. Nicole?
Oh, I think that's Gianna.
Holy moly. Oh, check that out.
Oh, I think that's Gianna.
Holy moly.
Gianna is one of the largest known sharks at Guadalupe. 6 years ago, Michael took her precise measurements. Measuring Gianna again now would reveal her growth rate since then.
Yeah, those are the tough ones.
Looks like she's going for the bait.
Yeah, it's just out of range of my lasers. I can't quite get a measurement. One's coming up underneath you. Oh, there he is. It's just not coming close. Let's go pull the deep camera and see what we can see on that.
Over the span of my research career, you kind of get really attached to certain sharks. There are some sharks that we just find more charismatic than other sharks, and they're much bigger. One of those sharks is Gianna. She's one that I actually captured, measured, tagged, and released many years ago. I'd love to get another measurement on that shark.
You know what, Nicole?
That was the best deep cage dive I've ever had.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't want to come up.
What we had, Sabrina first. She was pretty big. And that new female, and Gianna.
Now that's the one I want to measure. Since we caught her, we taped her out.
She didn't come very close.
No, she didn't. So we're not just here to count the sharks. We're here to put really accurate measurements next to the name of each of these sharks for the first time. If we've captured that and measured that shark before, we'll have real data on the growth rate of wild white sharks.
Healthy growth rates mean more sharks reaching sexual maturity. More mature females like Gianna means more baby sharks and bigger shark populations. It's another important shark metric, so Michael adds lasers to the deep camera.
We mounted the lasers directly to our deep cam and recalibrated them. They are like perfect right now. Let's shove this thing in.
We're hoping to see more sharks, get more measurements, and maybe some sharks we haven't seen yet.
Wow, they are just everywhere. Look at that. Another female.
So all of this is really important to help get our trend for how many new sharks we have coming in and how many that were previously identified.
This one we gotta get filmed, both sides.
Sharks are always here. Guadalupe Island is one of the most consistent places for great white sharks. And for me, it's great to see my sharks again.
The new count at Guadalupe Island brings them one step closer to deciphering northeastern Pacific white shark populations. But the mission is far from over.
Conducting a population estimate using market recapture methods takes time. However, we've been collecting data at Guadalupe Island for so long, we can do our second population estimate for that site. The key is what the ratio is between the sharks that we've known before and sharks that are new for this year. Just from this trip alone, where are we right now with regard to that ratio?
After 3 days at Guadalupe Island, we've seen around 25 sharks total. Overall, there were 9 sharks that were new for this season. So 9 out of 25 were new.
So almost a third were new sharks.
Correct.
That's a great ratio. The more new sharks we see in a given sampling period, that means the population has gone up more.
At this point, I'm not done going through all the footage. There's still some photos and videos, and especially the deep camera that I need to go through.
What you're saying is that we're not done yet.
No.
I mean, you're not done yet. You got a lot more work to do. To come to the final number. I'm looking forward to wrapping it up. The season's pretty much done.
Yes.
And send this off to our statisticians and see where we're at. Now that we've accumulated new data for Guadalupe Island, it's time to send it off to our colleague, Dr. Oscar Sosa in Mexico. He can crunch the numbers and give us our new population estimate for that site.
It's been over 10 years since researchers completed the last official population estimate for white sharks in the northeastern Pacific.
This 2011 population estimate pronounced there were only about 450 white sharks for all of the northeastern Pacific, and I did not believe that number could be true.
Beachgoers in California are encountering great whites in high numbers. Dr. Michael Domeyer suspects dramatically rising shark populations could be the reason. His shark census will confirm if his theory is correct or not.
So it's been 4 months now since we finished our Guadalupe expedition. Nicole continued to go through all the pictures and video, and at the end of all of that, she found we saw 37 individual white sharks during that trip, 13 of which were new. That's a very heavy ratio towards new sharks. That would push our population index up.
Michael has sent all the data to shark researcher Dr. Oscar Sosa in Mexico, and he is working out the estimate.
I can't wait to jump on a Zoom call and find out if the Guadalupe Island white shark tribe is increasing, decreasing, or staying the same.
I have been working on this modeling. I'm very excited to give these numbers that I'm showing to Michael.
Hey, Oscar. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to hear what our results are after giving you all the new data. So please, I heard you're ready. Share with me the result.
Yes, of course, Michael. Well, guess what? We found an 80% of increase in the population.
Wow, 80%. Incredible.
It's incredible.
That's almost double, Oscar.
Yeah.
That is beyond significant population increase.
I haven't seen this kind of results shown to the general public yet.
I can't believe it. The fact that we've seen an 80% increase in the white shark population at the Guadalupe Island tribe suggests to me that these other tribes are very likely increasing as well. It's a huge trend upwards. It also validates what people are just seeing, beachgoers in California. They say, and like the lifeguards will tell you, I'm seeing more and more sharks.
To know how the numbers of the populations of sharks are going is very important for the public safety. As the number is larger, the potential interactions between humans and sharks it grows.
The big increase in shark numbers at Guadalupe could be the reason for new aggregation sites along the rest of the coastline.
This latest attempt to get a population estimate has raised some really new, interesting questions for me. We know from researchers that study the northern elephant seals that as their population grows, they keep colonizing new beaches. Could that same thing be happening to adult white shark aggregations? I think it's possible over time that the Guadalupe aggregation site gets overpopulated with sharks and the sharks have to start to look for a new place to go, don't you think?
Yes, that's certainly true.
The researchers have only just begun to count the Point Conception tribe.
It's a lot of sharks, Keith.
But the numbers so far suggest a huge new aggregation just 100 miles from Los Angeles. A white shark can cover that distance in 2 days.
So at Guadalupe Island, in 3 days of filming, we saw 37 different sharks. At Point Conception, we only had 2 good days. We saw almost 30 sharks. To see that many sharks in that short amount of time, my gut tells me the size of the tribe at Point Conception is approaching the size of the tribe at Guadalupe Island.
Truth is, white shark numbers are on the rise in many places around the U.S. coastline. Laws protecting marine mammals have led to seal population explosions too, and more seals support more white sharks. The bottom line is, the sharks are out there, and beachgoers will have to learn to coexist with great whites.
It's pretty clear to me the white sharks are thriving in the northeastern Pacific. But our expedition to Point Conception was the very beginning. And all those sharks are brand new to anyone who's studying white sharks in the northeastern Pacific. We have a lot more to learn.